calling from?
Hey, this is Kowalski from Nebraska.
Hey, Kowalski, what's going on? What's on your minds?
I called you like 3 weeks ago and told you about some flooding going on. Oddly enough, still flooding. But
Oh, shit.
I did actually have a question for you, or two. One would take a little bit of time. The other would be pretty straightforward. So do you have a decent amount of time or not really?
I would go with the straightforward one.
All right. So I am a Republican. However, I would consider myself to be fairly on the moderate side. But for a place like Nebraska, we are a red state, no question about it.
Yep.
So my question for you is that wouldn't it be advantageous for Democrats in red states or Republicans in blue states to just break down the party barrier, go for the other team, and then do their best to affect primaries? Because, I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can do in Nebraska to get a Democrat
So wait,
into
so in other
the
words, if you're
conservative
saying,
stronghold.
I would say, so if I understand you correctly, I would, if somebody said like, hey, I'm a member of Nebraska DSA, I want to run for the Senate, I'm part of DSA first and foremost, I'm running in a Republican primary, I think that would be cool. I mean, I don't have any problem. I don't have any particular attachment. I think if you can get elected to office and implement an agenda, I don't care, independent, green, Republican, whatever.
Yeah,
Doesn't
seize
matter to
power.
me.
I'm a big proponent of this. I mean, I'm from North Dakota. North Dakota has a history with the nonpartisan league that literally was formed because it had open primaries for both parties, and it's just we're going to run in both of them. We'll run in the Republican, we're running the Democrat, and I think that is, especially in places like Nebraska and Nebraska's like North Dakota, where you saying you're a Democrat doesn't help you with anybody.
Would it make any difference, though, you think?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
Democrats can sometimes win here just because Omaha, it just depends on how the Democrats come out to play.
Right.
So, I mean, they can sometimes swing it. But, I mean, as far as, like, the representatives go, I don't know. I feel like if people were just to get rid of the party name and just go with the dominant force, they would at least be able to get the most moderate person in, which I don't know. Seems like it might be good.
It basically blocks. You're probably not going to be able to exercise power very effectively getting in that way, but you at least block somebody from getting in. So I mean, I'd be interesting to see it tried. I don't know how feasible it is.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me in some ways. I think obviously people should be thinking about organizing strikes and things outside of politics everywhere. But that's one of the interesting things about red states is like these incredible movements for strikes, which are really, that's clearly one of the most important things you could do, happening in a place like West Virginia that's been dominated by Republicans. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I mean, I think you'd have to tell me more whether or not if somebody came along and said, I'm running as a Republican or I'm running as an independent and I support, Medicare for all and I'm running on a good, solid platform.
Well, one thing I've kind of noticed, and I kind of am into politics, I probably will be on the ballot for the House this next coming primary run.
But who are you going to vote for president?
Excuse me?
Who are you going to vote for president? How do you actually vote?
As of right now, I would probably be in the Warren camp. I think she's probably the best move for agriculture.
Okay.
Even in the last election, I voted for Clinton over Trump just because once you start talking trade wars, I know for a fact that's just going to break our knees. So it literally is. So
you're already basically functionally you're voting as a Democrat, basically.
No, I would say I'm still fairly conservative, but I see a lot of things in progressive movements that I think the conservative sides have basically abandoned on for political reasons, not basically corruption. That's actually my biggest complaint with the Republican Party is that they are, in my opinion, becoming very oligarchic. So
there's only one way to you have to structurally attack that problem.
I'm more of like a Teddy Roosevelt like Republican, maybe without as much imperialism, but basically small government, but break the hell out of anybody who gets too big and starts throwing their weight around. Point of government is to protect the people, not
I think there's a lot of this. I mean, my uncle is a soybean farmer in southeastern North Dakota, and he didn't vote for one or the other. He abstained from voting for president, and he has been apparently talking to my mom, not happy with Trump and the whole trade war stuff. So yeah,
Right.
and I do think
there's a lot of people that are not happy, and I think the only reason they won't vote against him is because they find Democrats just, I don't know what it is, like elitist, even though that doesn't make sense because they represent the working class better. I have no idea.
urban
There's
divide.
something to the brands. And you're running for office as a Republican and for the House, but obviously a different kind of agenda.
But I plan on being pretty strong moderate. Basically, I've been making a lot of cases for things like Medicare for all, mainly for the fact I know it'll be the only means to safeguard rural health care. It is the only cost-effective way to ensure that small towns don't lose their clinics and hospitals.
So how did you get
essentially have to be subsidized.
how did you get into this show? And do you watch? Do you listen to my show or Matt's
A lot
show
of
or
YouTube.
Young Turks? or
I'm
anything?
a farmer, so what was that?
No, I'm just whatever. Yeah, you just keep it. Do you watch other left wing shows or listen to, or is it just this one?
I generally just like information and perspective. I think too many people get caught up in echo chambers, and it's just not healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be far more beneficial for everyone to just get along and try to work towards a common cause, as opposed to you're just wrong and it's just not constructive. Everything breaks down at that point. I mean, everybody has a reason for believing what they believe in, but I guess I would rather be informed than not informed. So I find shows like yours generally entertaining because, well, I don't think the right really has anything to compete with.
Right. Would you, out of curiosity, would you be the first Republican candidate, even on a local level, to call for freeing Lula?
Yes. Actually, I think we need to address our entire Latin American policy.
Well, you
As
know what?
far as I'm concerned, Latin America is the closest thing we have culturally to the United States. I think Latin America is a better partner moving forward than Europe or even in some regards like Canada. Well, I mean, we're just physically closer to them, and they're more important to us than anyone else.
They got the water too.
All right.
But actually,
Well, that's significant.
Hey, if caller,
Lula Libre.
if you become the first Republican to support Medicare for all, you should make a little video announcement for that, and we will run that.
No,
So,
actually, honestly, yeah, you're right. I lost track there. But in all seriousness, if you did a video, Republican, state lawmaker or a state candidate explains why Medicare for all is the only way to save rural health care, I think that would actually do a lot of good.
Well, if I don't make that video, just for your viewers to understand this, it's a great idea because it subsidizes rural health care. It's the only way for it to work. And if it's government ran, overhead bureaucracy would be reduced, not to mention it's the most cost-effective thing because of economics of scale. Plus, you're not building a new organization. It already exists, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's just simply cheapest and the most effective way to do it. So why give billions away to the ultra-rich when we could just give it to the poor so they don't have to die?
Sounds pretty commonsensical to me. And I'm not, I'm obviously.
I lost both of my parents basically to preventable health diseases before the age of 20. So this is kind of one of those things where I'm not really wanting anybody else to have to go through that. So let's just do what, any modern country would do.
Yep. Absolutely. I appreciate you, call. Thank you for talking with us. Learn a lot.
All right.
All right. Thanks, man.
Have a good one.
You too. Take care. Good luck. All right. Yeah. Good way to go out. No more calls today. Sorry about that, folks. That's fascinating. I would be really curious to see if you could convince me that a significant portion of it was just genuine, like, brand toxicity of that name specifically.
So it's a lot of it in places like that. In
I
places
mean,
in places that A, don't have a lot of people, but B, have those electoral college votes. Like, it's just Democrat. I don't know what it is, but it's all I've ever known when I lived there is like it's a joke to be a Democrat.
If you and I mean, on a federal level, it's different because I do think when you start getting into like, look, basically when you get into the House or the Senate, who you're going to vote to organize as leadership is one of the most important things you can do. But I mean, that seems like a no. If you're running, I guess the same thing would apply for statewide office. But whatever, you're going to a Republican-dominated legislature, you're going to get elected as a Republican and say that we should support Medicare for all and breaking up agriculture cartels. Why on earth? Like, great, be a Republican.
Don't bother being a Democrat.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Fuck them. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds smart to me.
Yeah, particularly if you're not like a leftist, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a moderate, but I mean, frankly, if that would work, it would be great for this country.
It would be great for this country. And I'm not trying to take a shot at Warren here. I'm just saying I think objectively, like, look, we used to say a sane political environment would be center-left Sanders, center-right Clinton, and I agree. And let's add the center would be Warren. It's funny because he said the Teddy Roosevelt tradition. Teddy Roosevelt tradition is nowhere the Republican Party. I actually would say that the politician, and I mean this with its compliments and its criticisms, that most closely resembles that tradition in modern politics is absolutely Elizabeth Warren. There's no doubt about it. And that's somebody who tracks as a liberal Democrat in today's world. I don't think that would, in a healthy political culture, that would not necessarily be the case. That could be a centrist.